How are we doing, everyone? Welcome to the Goblins live show. It's been a couple of weeks, so I hope you're all doing all right. Hope you've not missed us too much. But yeah, we've got an interesting show lined up for you today. Well, actually, quite an angry show. Because councils want to take away certain national speed limits from our country roads in certain areas of the UK. And, God, when will it end? Where will it stop? How far will they go? Well, that's what we're going to try and discuss in today's show. Are you ready, wifey?
Yep.
All right, let's roll that intro. You managed to blow one there.
Perfect circle.
So, wifey, how are we doing? We missed out on last week's show.
Yes.
So
Very sorry about that. I was not very well at all.
yeah, the wifey had a little procedure, and she should have been all right afterwards. But yeah, she was
not.
she was in a lot of pain. So I felt obliged to look after her last week on Thursday. So yeah.
Oh, you felt obliged.
Well.
In sickness and in health.
Yep. So there you go. So that's kind of what happened last week. But
I'm
yeah.
on form this week though. I'm feeling better. Yeah, but
But it is weird though, because one of those things, isn't it, where after you were like, yeah, I'm okay, and then later on throughout the day, it just got more and more painful for some reason.
like when I got home, I was like, I don't feel perfect, but I feel I can cope. And then, yeah, like you say, the longer it went, the worse I got. And nah, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, so sorry about that, guys and gals. Last week, very very short notice. I mean, we left it because the wifey was hoping that she'd be feeling better by the time we ended up going live, and she didn't. So
originally the plan was that I was just going to come and do the topic, and then I was going to go back in the house and just kind of rest.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where that just wasn't an option, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
sorry about that, but yeah, hopefully back to normal from this week onwards. And but anyway, what have we been up to then? So, have we got any interesting things to, I don't know, that we've been doing the last couple of weeks?
I don't know.
No, I don't know either, to be honest.
Found the bubbles.
You're blowing them down. Blow them upwards.
Hold on.
We'll have floating bubbles then during the show. Don't blow them upwards. Up.
You can see them though.
Yeah, up. So they float.
Okay, I'm trying. It's not as easy as it looks.
You got one. Brilliant.
We watched Maverick, didn't we?
Oh yeah, Top Gun Maverick. That's really
Which
good.
I liked, and then you watched again the same next
Yeah,
week.
it was really, really good. Surprisingly good. So I definitely recommend giving that a watch. We're watching Clarkson's Farm season 2 as well. That's really good as well. But
really enjoying that.
that's a lot of stress.
Oh, right my eyes.
lot of stress in that season. So yeah, I hope that's worked out all right for everyone. But yeah, so yeah, we're doing that. What else? Is there anything else?
Playing like video games.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. Yeah. You got Hogwarts Legacy, didn't you? A couple of weeks ago. Was it a couple of weeks ago or last week? Last week. So yeah, the wifey's been. What's the word? Binging. Binging Hogwarts Legacy.
I've only done 49% of the challenges, and I've played for over 40 hours. So yeah. But no, nothing else really.
Yeah. Got my car back as well from the garage last week, having the clutch changed.
Made a difference. You went in it yesterday as a passenger, didn't you? Backseat passenger.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun old car that. Was a little bit more expensive, the clutch job in the end, than what I was hoping. I was budgeting around 500 quid, but Ended up costing 750 quid. So, is what it is. But anyway, it's all good. It's all back together. And yesterday though, when we were driving it, one of the wheel arches
Oh my god!
started coming off, didn't it?
Yeah.
So because
that was scary because we didn't know what it was.
No, I mean when I visited the garage, I saw that they had part of the wheel trim, or the wheel arch trim pried off, so they could, I imagine it, so they could get better access to the clutch and everything. And yeah, we were driving around yesterday, and it it popped off. So yeah, managed to find some plastic clips for it.
Yep.
So put that back together again. So hopefully that's the end of that. But yeah.
What was that one? Oh.
You having fun there?
I'm having so much fun.
What else, wifey? Is there anything else that we've been up to?
No.
No, it's been pretty same old, really. Anyway, shall we discuss the main topic of today's show?
Bubbles.
So yeah, the main topic of today's show is in certain parts of the UK we're getting speed limit changes from where they would be normally national speed limit. They're getting adjusted to 30, 40 and in some cases even 20 miles an hour. Now me and the wifey, we experienced this firsthand a couple of weeks ago when we went 3 weeks ago when we went to pick up my car.
Oh yeah, I was thinking
we didn't pick up my car from there, but we drove around there to test drive a car, around Chepstow, and they got 20 mile an hour limits everywhere, and it's just it's stupid because those same roads around here would be 40 miles an hour easy.
How enforceable is 20 miles an hour anyway?
It never used to be. 30 miles an hour used to be the lowest limit, and so you'd have 20 mile an hour limits put up in places almost like as a deterrence. It wasn't enforceable, but nowadays it is. Or is it determined by the councils? Is it the councils that determine whether or not a 20 mile an hour zone is enforceable? I don't know.
I have no idea.
But
so
yeah, nightmare.
When you read the highway code, I think
as if I've read the highway code.
So when you do your driving lessons, I mean this was decades back for you, but when you do your driving lessons, you're so old.
A decade, thank you.
When you do your driving lessons, my instructor anyway was saying, in the highway code it says, if you aren't sure about the speed limit of the area, but there's lamps.
Traffic lights. No, not traffic lights. Street lamps. Street lamps, yeah.
In the road, the street lamps around, then assume it's 30 until you see otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So is that effectively going to change to 20?
Who knows? Because I'm pretty sure that I had the same experience, that my driving instructor said something very similar.
Yeah.
Where, if you're not sure,
because I'm not sure,
do 30.
I just stick to 30.
And now you might be wrong now. Yeah.
And they'll be like, it's 20.
You might get done for speeding now. Yeah.
Food for thought.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've done a video in the past about 20 mile an hour limits and how stupid they are, and just there's no need for them. They're totally unnecessary. And
just slows everything down.
But on roads where there isn't a lot of traffic, on roads where doing 60 miles an hour has been the national speed limit on those roads for so long, that why should it change? Why should that be any different?
So,
we'll bring you guys over to this other screen here where we've got this. This is one article on the issue on Politics Joe, but yeah, so it's just UK speed limit on 60 mile an hour roads to be reduced to 30 and 20 on certain roads in the UK. And I
have
think
questions.
I think this is determined by local councils, so this isn't like a nationwide initiative or anything like that. But yeah, a council in England has decided to introduce speed limits of 20 and 30 across a part of an 80-mile stretch of land in a bid to improve road safety, apparently. You said you have questions, wifey?
I'm writing them down.
Right, okay. So, yeah, and in the UK, there's a default speed limit of 60 miles an hour across country roads, which has been in place since 1977. And I'm sorry, but cars in 1977 could easily do over 60 miles an hour and 70 miles an hour, and arguably they were less safe to drive, and yet it was acceptable back in 1977.
I don't think.
And now it's not acceptable.
Were seatbelts even mandatory to be worn in 1977?
Actually, I don't know.
I
don't know when. I think that was quite late, wasn't it? I think that was in the 90s, was it, that they created a law around having to wear seatbelts? I can't remember.
1983.
Oh, so it was a while ago.
But
then.
So someone went down this country road, let's say this particular country road for argument's sake, without a seatbelt on, potentially, doing 60, and they went, you know what, that's a safe speed, you can do this road. But now, some snowflake has got in his freaking Honda Jazz, worn his seatbelt, and gone, actually, no, 20 is much safer.
The thing I don't understand
in my mind, that's how it's gone.
The thing I don't get about this, I mean, we'll go through the article in a little bit more detail, but there are more articles like this with a similar kind of line or similar story. People have the choice to drive slower on these roads. They don't have to do 60 mile an hour, but you have the freedom to do that speed if you want to.
You're gonna get.
I'm sorry, but it's not just us either as motorcycling enthusiasts. We enjoy riding our motorcycles on country roads because they are the most fun.
They are fun.
You get the most freedom and you get the best experience on a motorcycle on the street on street roads. A lot of the time it is on country roads. And I don't, and now this is being affected. I keep saying this over and over again, right? Cities, suburban areas, fine, whatever. Enforce whatever speed limits you like, but not on country roads. There's really no need for it whatsoever. And like road safety, the road safety of who? Who are they trying to protect?
The residents, I guess, who live on the country roads.
Well, no, because I bet you that their argument towards this is going to be about protecting drivers on the roads.
Mm.
It's like, well, okay, if you can't drive down a country road at 60 miles an hour, you shouldn't be driving in the first place.
To get to, just an example, to get to my parents' house, we can't take a motorway. You can't really, can you? It's a bit of a convoluted way to get there.
Yeah,
so the most direct route is through the country roads.
Yeah.
So with the country road, it's very much 60 to hit a village, and then it goes to 30, and then you go back up to 60. And
which is normal. It's been like that for ever.
That makes sense. I know in some of the places it goes 60 to 30, then to 40, then to 50, and then back to 60, and that's fine. Like, whatever, you do you. But it just... I don't understand why they're having to make 80-mile stretch 20 miles an hour.
I don't know. But
are they trying to reduce traffic down there so people avoid it? Is that what they're doing?
No, it's going to increase congestion. Isn't it?
But I'm saying
because if people around these roads can't move quicker, then it's going to delay people trying to get out of the busy areas.
But what I'm saying is there might be an alternative route, like down the motorway, that people might take instead of going down this country road.
Yeah, but it's like what you were saying though. Getting to your mum and dad's, that's not viable.
That's my only option. Yeah.
But even then, though, there's no direct motorway to the village that they live in.
Mm-mm.
There's no motorway there. At some point or other, you have to take a country road or two. You have to.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, this is so infuriating. This now because it's getting to a point where when are they going to stop? Because who are these people? Who do these people think they are? Are they literally people that, like you're saying, are driving stereotypical eco cars and they don't enjoy driving? They hate driving.
So
and they hate motorists.
I've just saw something.
That's what it feels like.
I just saw something on that article which just popped a memory.
Yeah.
And this only happened last weekend. So it says here roughly 10,000 deaths, just the line up for me.
Oh yeah, this one.
And serious injuries among motorists, cyclists and walkers occur on these roads. Now, I was taking my dad somewhere last weekend and I was coming out of a 30 mile per hour speed limit into what turned into a 60. Now, I was still in the 30 as I was coming down the road and there was a national speed limit sign. And a lot of people, they see the sign and they start speeding up, right? Do you know what was just in front of that sign? Someone walking on the road.
Mm.
And just after a bend. So someone was going to come round that corner, think, oh, it's turned 60 now, go, and that guy was going to be a goner.
But then why was that person crossing that road?
No, they were walking down the road. They weren't crossing. They were literally walking on the road. There was no pavement, so they walked on the road. And they weren't even walking towards the traffic, which is what you should be doing.
Yeah, you should be walking towards
away
the traffic.
from
And there was... Why were they walking there to begin with?
I have no idea. Oh, dear. So there's things like that where I'm like, yeah, deaths happen, but that is user error, you know?
Of course it's user error.
Like, that person, for one, wasn't walking towards the traffic. So, two, it was a blind bend. I couldn't see around the bend to see they were there. And three, they were walking into a national speed limit road.
See, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you say user error, but there are ways around that. Like, for example, don't allow pedestrians to walk on roads that are 60 mile an hour.
Well,
you don't allow pedestrians to walk on motorways or dual carriageways. So why should you be allowing them to walk, you know? And if there's no areas to walk, then the council should be putting down pavements. They should be doing something to allow a pedestrian to walk.
Yeah.
Still, stupid place to be walking. Anyway.
I know. I said to him, said to him, rather unladylike when I saw him.
I think I would too.
And my dad replied with something also rather unladylike, which is fine. Just because we were just shocked that he was there. And I just said, if someone came around that corner a bit too quick, that guy's a goner.
Yeah.
And he's one of those 10,000 then.
But is that the most? Is that the driver's fault then?
No, that's what I'm saying. Use errors and it's pedestrian.
But
like it's their fault. It's not the right. It's not the road's
But do you
fault.
think? But do you think it's easier then to just, you know, to say to drivers, because obviously the drivers are the ones that are using these cars, you know, that are doing the national speed limit on these roads. Do you think it's just easier just to put this on them and just say, right, you can't do this anymore?
Because even if they moved down to 40, I still would have hit him coming around the corner.
I suppose.
You
well,
know?
I find it
Either way, he's going to be hit.
Well, so there's a.
I didn't hit him, by the way.
They say in that sentence here, they say roughly 10,000 deaths and serious injuries. Well, what is it? Is it 10,000 deaths, or what's the ratio here of?
Yeah.
And how serious are injuries?
It's probably like for every 10,000, there's 250 deaths.
But exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It's not.
Exactly.
It's a ratio.
I mean, you can't. I mean, yes, okay. There's loads and loads of people using UK roads. Whatever. There's loads of people using roads everywhere. So you are going to have a number of accidents on these roads every day. Simple as that. That's not going to change. But as well, kind of like there's no context there. So okay, so 10,000 deaths and serious injuries. Why? From what? How? You know. So. Their justification behind changing these speed limits is because 10,000 people are either die or are seriously injured on country roads. But is that the problem here?
No.
Is that what they're? Is that what? Are they implying that that's the problem here?
That is what they're saying. Cause
is that the implication? Because
that's what the guy says.
Because why would councils make that assumption? What evidence do they have to suggest that this is going to help?
Because they're taking the most extreme action first.
It might help, it might not. I don't know. But the thing is, like I keep on saying as well, I prefer to be able to make the choice of whether or not I do something or not and in doing anything. I prefer to have the choice in the matter. I don't want to be dictated to what I can and can't do. No one does. But this is just more bureaucracy. This is more nonsense. And I don't know, man. I don't know. This is just...
So...
Because there's no... So how many people die on suburban roads? How many people die and are seriously injured in city traffic? How many people this? How many people that?
Oh, we can ask these questions all day long.
Right, and then we can compare then, can't we? That if 10,000 people that have died or have been seriously injured, whether or not that is a relevant number.
Okay, so I'm going to put a question back to you then. So, in 1977, some guy in his probably now not legal car went down these roads at 60 and was like, "This is safe. this is the maximum a car could do down here, and it'll be all right. Okay.
Wow.
Let's just say that's for argument's sake. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So now they're saying, oh, we got the snowflake generation. They must be in bubble wrap. And no, let me finish. And we have to reduce it to 20 miles an hour. Is 20 miles an hour more or less dangerous than 60 on roads like this?
I don't know. What was the question?
I can't remember now. Did it? It's quite a long, convoluted quote.
What is it? What was it you wanted?
Is 20 miles per hour on country roads more or less safer than 60?
Well, who knows?
That's
who knows
what
that
I'm
this wisdom is supposedly indicates that yes, it is safer.
But the thing is, I want to know what sort of tests they've done. Have they done it on different times of days? Have they done it with different, has a motorcyclist gone down there and done 20 versus an Arctic or a people carrier,
Right. Going back to a couple of things that you said there. So one, you say that it was assumed in 1977 that 60 miles an hour was safe on particular roads, on particular country roads, right? I guarantee you that you could go a lot quicker on those types of roads than 60 mile an hour in a car or in a motorcycle, without a doubt. But conservatively speaking, what speed can you do? And that number came to 60. In some cases as well, in a lot of cases actually around here, it's 50 mile an hour now. Yeah. Fine. 50 mile an hour, that's fine. Still whatever, good. Okay? That's still decent enough. The second thing that you were saying about this snowflake generation creating all this stuff, I don't think it is.
Do you not?
No. I think these are old-time councillors.
It's not the attack of the Karens.
Literally. I think it's an older generation that are proposing these things. Seriously. You wouldn't have a 20-year-old or even a 25 or even a 30-year-old in a council saying that something like this is necessary. You wouldn't unless there was some kind of Green Party member or something like that, they wouldn't be proposing this kind of stuff. This is an older generation of people that are creating these rules.
I don't think it's someone who's bored.
I don't know, but
and they're like, how can we piss people off today?
Thing is, like, okay, let's be pragmatic. Let's kind of think logically here. So going slower is safer. That's the traditional kind of thing. Fine, I accept that.
That's
whatever.
The assumption.
Whatever, right? If that's how it is, then that's okay. But is it right then to impose these sorts of speed limits on these kinds of roads that everyone knows are going to be used for a bit of fun?
Well, how enforceable are they anyway?
Well, they are enforceable. They'll have speed cameras. If they don't build speed cameras there, permanent ones, they'll have mobile speed cameras around there, without a doubt. God. To enforce it. And the thing is, though, is that what a lot of these people don't seem to understand is the whole reason why people buy certain cars, the reason why people buy certain motorcycles is to enjoy them.
I really
What they're doing with this is they are killing the enjoyment of using a car or using a motorcycle.
I really hope that all that money you've now spent on bikes and cars was worth it for 20 miles an hour.
Exactly. They don't seem to get it. Because how many people from, if you live in one of these areas where you think, oh, okay, so all these country roads here are 20 and 30 mile an hour, maybe even 40 miles an hour. And then, you look to go out and buy a new car, but you can't actually buy the car you want because you're not able to enjoy it. You're not able to use it on those kinds of roads. I'm telling you right now, ever since buying that Honda Civic that we've got, the Type R Honda Civic, how many times have we been out and about on it, just having a bit of fun on country roads and stuff?
Oh my God, I had so much fun yesterday.
Right, quite a lot of times. We've been out quite a few times over the past 3 weeks, just enjoying the car. And I'm sorry, you wouldn't be able to enjoy the car if it was like this everywhere.
I was about to... now, I don't know if this is a really stupid question, so do forgive me for asking this, but when you drive an electric car... No, actually, it's a stupid question. Don't worry. I take it back.
You take it back.
I don't want to seem stupid online anymore than I already have before. I just don't know. Is it, well, technically I guess I could ask this question. Is it going to drain an electric car battery quicker because you're going slower?
No.
No.
No, if anything, it will. You think that it would probably help with fuel economy and things like that, going a little bit slower. But having said that, that's not strictly true either, because the optimum speed to be going is, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think it's between 50 and 60 miles an hour is the optimum speed for most engines in their top gear to be running at their most efficient. So, for example, if you're driving in a 30 zone, and I mean, if you could get into sixth gear, then okay, but it's not going to be quite as efficient as if you're going a little bit quicker in the same gear. I don't know. I might be wrong there, but the difference between because you're having to strike that balance between having to get somewhere quickly and try and save fuel whilst you're doing it. There's a balance there.
Yeah.
No, I don't know about these hypermilers, what kind of speeds that they do, but I don't know. Maybe they can enlighten us, but I really don't know what to make of this stuff. So this is in Surrey.
Yeah.
This is in Surrey. So Surrey County Council have decided to cut down the speed limits on quite a large stretch.
80-mile stretch.
Yeah, an 80-mile area. That's a lot. That's a lot. I'm trying to think. 80 miles. I mean, you're thinking from where we are, that's probably going into every other county surrounding us. So if you go in a straight line, 80 mile an hour around where we are, that takes us into another county easily.
Yeah. Maybe
even two, depending on where you are. But we seem to be hearing this more and more. I think, aren't there some counties up in the north as well of the country that are doing something similar? And you kind of wonder if this is some kind of like test. Well, not a test, but like
sounds like a vendetta to me.
Like what's the word? An experiment almost to see if one, if people would accept it, and two, whether or not it does actually make roads safer and all the assumptions that they are making.
Like a pilot, almost.
Yeah, a pilot. That's the word, yeah, a pilot. Because it's not everywhere. And in most counties, you're not seeing these kinds of speed limits being imposed anywhere. It's just in specific counties. Very, very small, a small number of counties that are doing this. But you do kind of wonder if it's getting... You're right, bud. If it's spreading and how quickly this kind of behaviour is spreading. I don't understand it. Well, I mean, funnily enough, if I'm not going to give any spoilers away from season 2 of Clarkson's Farm, but he has a very similar experience with local council in his area with getting planning permission, and you just think, oh my god, are you being serious right now? This is just ridiculous and it's stupid. And things like this are just stupid. I'm sorry, they just are. There's no need for it. I'm all for change. I'm all for making things better. This is not making things better, in my opinion.
The amount of times we've stopped Clarkson's Farm and had a rant, haven't we?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's ridiculous. But every single time we see things like this, the same thing happens. We just start ranting about it because no one seems to do anything. And I mean, the thing I think a lot of these people need to understand is that roads are dangerous by nature. Right, you've got these 2-ton, 3-ton, 10-ton vehicles traveling along these roads. Doesn't matter what speed they're doing, even if they're doing 3 miles an hour, for God's sake, and they hit you, it's going to bloody hurt, right? If not kill you. So it kind of like the risk is always going to be there. It doesn't matter what you do, the risk is always going to be there. There are people that are always going to be victims of roads. Simple as that. So how much is this going to help? Like, how much of a difference will this make? It'd be curious to see if they publish certain, figures on areas like this, and over the course of, say, a year, how many deaths have occurred on those roads during that time. Oh, but no, they won't make a difference there, because then they'll turn around and say, oh, it's because of speeding drivers or something.
I have something interesting to share.
Oh, okay.
So I've just gone on the Gov website, and there's in section 5, there's a speed limit appraisal tool talking about. Have you heard about this?
No, I don't think so.
So in the strategic framework for road safety, the Department for Transport announced that it would provide a new speed limit appraisal tool to help local authorities assess the full costs and benefits of any proposed schemes and help make evidence-based decisions to introduce local speeds that reflect the needs of all road users. The tool has been designed to enable local highway authority officers and other professionals to forecast mean and 85th percentile speeds for speed limit changes, forecast changes to emissions, operating costs, blah, 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 and appraise changes in speed limits. What it also goes on to say is that, where is it? You haven't found there.
These don't blow bubbles very well, do they?
No, they're not. They don't. Well, we did buy them for children, to be fair.
Seem to. Let's try this one instead.
Oh, if I'd been using the wrong end, I would be really embarrassed right now.
No, you weren't.
But yeah, it just goes through basically saying that this tool has been introduced, and from the sounds of it, people don't even need to go out and do road tests anymore. It's just they look at this tool and go, actually, what changes can we make? And that's where they get their information from. But
basically, the government washes their hands of it, don't they?
Here we go. So there's another section, urban speed limits, where it talks about it affects everybody. And it says, traffic authorities can, over time, introduce 20-mile-per-hour speed limits or zones on major roads where there are, or could be, significant numbers of journeys on foot where pedal cycle movements are important consideration, and this outweighs the disadvantage of longer journey times for motorised traffic.
Okay, but that's in urban areas. That doesn't account for these areas. There's going to be a very small number of cyclists on these kinds of roads. Do you think?
No.
Yeah?
I think there's always going to be cyclists on country roads.
Yeah, but then it's nowhere near as dense as the amount of cyclists you see in urban areas, or suburban areas for that matter. No, you might get certain people riding on country roads on bicycles, but most of the time they're competition riders anyway.
There's this big old section about 20-mile-per-hour zones as well. In 1996, research showed the overall average annual collision frequency could fall by around 60% by reducing...
62%?
By 60%.
By 60%? By up to 60%?
And that's where they're getting their information from 1996. Wow. Really interesting if everyone wants to read it, but my God, is it a lot of words.
I don't know. And again, though, but those are going to be in densely populated areas where there's a dense amount of traffic. You know, that shouldn't affect the less occupied roads around the country. I don't think. But we always seem to go back to the same thing, where we always seem to be backwards a lot of the time compared to other European countries and other countries around the world in terms of our tolerance for speed. And it's only going one way, guys. It's going one direction and one direction only. And eventually it's going to get to a point where you literally will not be able to go anywhere without a risk of getting caught speeding, even doing mild speeds. Literally mild speeds. I don't know.
We have a lot of comments.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll say hello to everyone in just a moment. I'm just reading a few more of these bits on this article here.
Last month, the Welsh Government passed a law agreeing on the 20-mile-per-hour national speed limit to be rolled out next year across residential roads.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what we were experiencing.
Yeah, but residential roads are different to main roads. Residential roads, fine, I don't care. But on main roads, you don't do that.
What I'm saying is...
What, do you think
we experienced...
The road that we were on, they count that as a residential road, do they?
Yeah, 100%. There's houses on it, so they would assume it.
So it says here, evidence suggests that implementing lower speed limits could reduce the number and severity of road collisions, whilst also helping support our active travel program, improve air quality, and address concerns over excessive vehicle noise. So who's that? Who's the quote there?
Matt Furness.
Matt Furness, council member for transport, infrastructure, and economy in Surrey.
They're just gonna have a load of idling motorcycles sitting there. You're just gonna start revving instead. Because why wouldn't you be sitting there waiting? Ridiculous.
So it says here, most rural roads in the area are still subject to national speed limit of 60 mile an hour, which is inappropriate for these types of roads. That's his opinion. It's evidence. Well, where's this evidence? Show us this evidence.
Oh, they never will.
Show us. Tell us where right in this article right here. There is no link anywhere to any studies, to any research, to nothing. Honestly, I understand that travelling slower is probably safer. But again, like, you have to try and find a balance between what is safe and what is fair for road users, you know? These are the people that have to use these roads every single day. What do they think? How many people are impacted by this, you know? How much extra time is it going to take for people to get to work if they use these roads? How much extra congestion is it going to create? They're saying about, you know, evidence suggests that it will improve air quality and address concerns over excessive vehicle noise. Well, will it? If you have more slower moving traffic in a certain area, well, you're going to have the same thing, aren't you? If there were like dual carriageways everywhere and motorways everywhere that will take you just about anywhere, then I suppose this wouldn't matter. But the fact is, in the UK, especially a lot of rural areas, the main ways you get around are on country roads. You can't. There are motorways that don't go to a lot of places here in the UK, so you are reliant on these roads. Oh man, I don't know. It just infuriates me an awful lot. And I don't understand it. But anyway, let's say hello to everybody, because we've been ignoring you guys, haven't we? Let's see what you guys think. Mark, good to see you, mate. How you doing? Call on. How you doing? 125 guy, good to see you. Dope Style Gaming. I don't know if I've said you already. Good to see you. Who else is in the chat? Snake Man, good to see you, mate. How you doing? CC, good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing all right. Nice one. All right, okay, let's see what you guys think. Mark, tiny bubbles in the air makes me happy. showing his age there. Dope Style Game, I bet you've been racing that Civic. Heard him down my road a few minutes ago, probably. Yeah.
What's it you said yesterday, though? Your car attracts the wrong type of people.
It does. It does attract the wrong kind of people. It attracts everyone that wants to race you, and you know, most of the time I'm driving the car for my own enjoyment. I don't really care about. I don't really care about racing anyone else, but yeah, it does attract the
Numpties.
not numpties, but people who are a bit more, I don't know. They're a stereotype, if you know what I mean. But everyone wants to race you. You know, you have a semi-loud exhaust in a car, and everyone wants to race you. And it's like, mate, a loud exhaust doesn't mean that it performs any better than it did stock. It just sounds nicer, whatever. Yeah. You know. I mean, that car probably produces a little bit more horsepower than stock. It probably produces over 200 horsepower, and those cars stock produce 198. It definitely has more power than the other cars that I test drove, but the other Civics that I test drove, but it's not going to be a massive difference. 200 horsepower in a car these days isn't an awful lot. So, but yeah. Let's have a look. 125 guy. It depends on the road. Open fields where you can see ahead, yeah, the limit should be 60. They have high hedges on both sides, you can't see the limit. It should be slower. Well,
I have a thought on that.
Yeah.
So I understand where you're coming from, but those hedges 6 months out of the year are going to have no leaves on, so you're going to be able to see through them anyway.
Well, but see, even on blind bends and things like that, there's an argument that could be made. Well, okay, we should be going slow around those bends, but there's indications. You have the chevrons. You have signs saying there's a sharp bend coming up, blind bend, slow down, things like that. But you don't have to change the whole speed limit of that particular road just to encourage people to go slow around there. So I think there are other ways to
I mean,
to get around that rather than enforcing lower speed limits.
surely some of it's got to be down to common sense. Surely.
There isn't any.
No, on
With these people, there isn't any common sense
on the
here.
driver's side, there has to be something common sense.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. You're actively
You know what I mean?
participating in what you're doing, but I just don't. I don't know. I've never ever come across a country road where I think 60 mile an hour is too quick. Never, ever, ever. So I don't know. Unless there are different kinds of people that are like, no, this is too fast. Or, I don't know. I don't know. But I've never had any problems. And the thing is, like, I'm going to go back to this point again, that it should be a person's choice. They don't have to go that quickly around a certain road if they don't have to, but you have the freedom to do it if you want to. I don't see anything wrong with that. But yeah, without a doubt, there are certain areas where you think, well, they've just plastered a national speed limit 60 mile an hour on this road because they can't bother to test it or something like that, right? I have no doubt there have been roads like that here in the UK. But to change an 80-mile stretch of road, that's just ridiculous. That's going way too far in the other direction.
Yeah.
That, you know, they could just implement certain speed limits on certain areas of that road or what have you. They don't have to do the whole bloody thing, and that's what they end up doing. So again, it's unreasonable. It's not again, it's moving away from that balance. I don't know. We're all motorcycle enthusiasts here. Tell me I'm wrong. You know, you want to enjoy your bike. You want to be able to have a bit of fun without having to worry about doing 33 mile an hour in a 30. You know, when you could be doing 66 mile an hour in a 60. You see what I mean? Or maybe they're trying to encourage everyone to just use racetracks instead for these kinds of things. Maybe. Who knows? Yeah, Dosar Gaming, the only place that 20 mile an hour zones make sense is school zones.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just anywhere where there's a dense area of people, I don't think it's a problem.
School zones as well. It says 20 miles per hour when these lights are flashing.
Yeah.
So it's during certain times.
Yeah, so most of the time the road is 30 and then
pick up or drop off.
Yeah, it's 20.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I don't have any problems with that. I have no issue with that whatsoever. 125 guy. There are roads near where I used to work that were 60, but I couldn't see past corners, so I believe those roads should be 30, maybe even 40. In those instances, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. In those particular use cases, but this isn't. This is the problem. It isn't. But yes, I agree. Yeah. Oh. Call on. I had a scraped leg on my Honda Nighthawk. That's a serious injury. Call on. More laws don't make things better. More freedom can come with risks, but I take those risks much more than having roads chop my speed limit like lumber. 40 plus here. Yeah, I say no to those 20 mile an hour laws. Yeah. See, I feel the same way. Where it should be a choice. You should have more freedom of choice. And the thing is as well, like, if you make a mistake and you get into an accident and you have a serious injury or something like that, you have to live with it. You have to live with it. If you are not prepared to take those risks as a motorist or as a road user, then don't use them. Rely on public transport, rely on this, rely on that. But no, people want to be able to drive, but they don't want to be able to drive like everybody else. They want to be able to drive to, you know, it's like, I don't know. It's like when you see people doing ridiculous, stupid, slow speeds on motorways and highways. It's just, no. What are you doing? But these are the kinds of people that we seem to be catering for now, are the people that have no confidence in their driving ability whatsoever. And so we're all being punished for it. It just feels like punishment. For enjoying our vehicles, it just feels like punishment. But yeah, it's not. It doesn't have to be everywhere. That's what I'm saying. You can have certain areas where you can be like, here you go. Let it run a little bit. You know, it shouldn't be anything. Open the taps a bit. There shouldn't be anything wrong with that. At Dopestar Gaming, when I noticed when I still had a motorcycle, whenever I went for a B-road blast, most country lane bends had a suggested limit around half of what was actually possible. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? There isn't anything wrong with that. Dope Star Gaming, I cannot lie to you, but with every passing day, a flip plate is looking more and more worthwhile. Oh, mate, you are not wrong. Do you know what the flip plates are?
Yeah, they're also illegal in the UK.
Yeah, they're illegal everywhere. Of course they are. But yeah, you are not wrong, mate. Well, you see that a lot in... I don't know if this is common practice in the United States, but a lot of the videos where you see people with fake number plates, you see it a lot in the videos from the US, where they deliberately put a fake plate on, go out and just have an absolute blast on their bikes, being stupid, no doubt there. But they end up having, cops chasing after them, and they read the number plates, but it's gobbledygook. Doesn't make any difference because it's not a real number plate. It's totally fake.
Very James Bond.
So, yeah, but it's honestly, you're not wrong. See, the thing is, I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to buy something that if you just get caught with it, you're just going to get in more trouble than you would have done without it. So I don't know. I don't know if I can endorse those kinds of things, to be honest with you. As much as I think it would be nice to have one.
Practically.
Well, for those occasions where you just want to have a blast and you don't really want to worry about getting caught speeding or whatever.
But realistically, though, like you say, if you got caught, the repercussions would be.
Yeah,
crazy.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Dubstar Gaming. I will say that the younger generations aren't as vehicle focused as a few years back, but there's definitely not a sentiment to slow things down to be safer. It's usually the same eco nonsense. Yeah. There's always an ulterior motive to these things, isn't there? That's what it seems like anyway. Call on. Safer maybe, but no fun. Give me a 50 or 60 year fun life over 120 worldwide prison in any day of the week. Yeah. But again, there has to be a balance, It's all about this balance that just doesn't seem to be there. Well, it seems like a lot of us are feeling very similar ways about this. I mean, let me know if you guys, where you live, if you have these kinds of, if you're subject to these stupid speed limits in areas where are not densely populated at all, and the only person it's going to hurt is you if you do something wrong, mate, let me know. Dostar Gaming, well, that's what I've observed as a 21-year-old anyways. But then again, I am a motorcyclist in spirit, so I'm 100% biased in going to have fast and having fun. The thing is, though, you don't have to go that quick to enjoy your motorcycle either. But even those 60 mile an hour isn't quick. It's not quick. 60 miles an hour is not fast whatsoever. 50 mile an hour isn't fast, but that's still enough speed to be able to enjoy your bike. But then at 30, can you really enjoy a motorcycle at 30 mile an hour or 20 mile an hour? Of course not. It's just going to... The thing is, this isn't going to change anything anyway. They create these speed limits. It's not going to change anything. People are still going to use those same roads in the same way. The only thing they've got to worry about is where the speed cameras are coming from. It's not going to change anything. It's just going to make people angry. It's just going to make people resent it, and that's it. Well, whoever is the local councillor there in Surrey, they need to be voted out. Anyone who lives in Surrey, vote them out. They're stupid. Snake Man, what's your thoughts on the 15-minute restrictive travel plans? I have no idea what that is.
So I had a little Google.
There, wifey?
Yeah, because I also didn't know what it was. And please let me know if I'm on the wrong thing. But it said a 15-minute neighbourhood involves a menu of policy actions that provide residents to most, if not all, their needs within a short walk or bike ride from their home. So it's basically designed for you to reduce the need for a car. So you need to get in a car to ride or drive anywhere.
Well, it's all making sense now, isn't it?
So everything's interlocked. So I could get up in my house, wake up in the morning, be 15 minutes from work, or like they say, from a school, from the co-op, from whatever.
What do they think? Do they think we live in some kind of feudal society? What the hell?
Do you know what it sounds like?
We're not peasants in farms anymore.
Do you know what it actually sounds like? And it sounds awful, and I don't want to offend anyone. In Finland, they have dementia villages. So everyone lives in this village, and it's a normal life because they have the shop around the corner, have the barbers, they have, the greengrocer, what have you. Sound like a 50s there. But they have.
But they have freedoms within.
They have some freedom, but they can't. They can't kind of get out.
Yeah.
And they're looked after. They're safe, a bit like the Truman Show in a way.
Yeah.
This is what that sounds like. Sounds like the Truman Show, doesn't it?
It sounds like some kind of dystopian future.
It sounds great for retired people and people with reduced mobility who maybe want to just get in their mobility scooter and pop to the shop and then go home. That sounds great for them.
Honestly, this is not a. This is a culture change.
So it says here, in the UK, there are relatively few examples of planning policies and interventions that nurture 15-minute neighbourhoods, but the low-traffic neighbourhoods are being pioneered in Waltham Forest and Sheffield, and those planned for Bristol, Bath, Manchester, and other cities are tentative first steps. So yeah.
So you're trying to restrict people's freedom.
Well,
So what? For example, we have a McDonald's that's just down this road here, and McDonald's is McDonald's, right? But we don't go to that one. We go to another one that's on the other side of town.
It's much better.
Because it's better. You get better service. The prices are a bit more expensive in there because it's a different area, but the service is better. The food comes out nice and quick, and it's warm as well, and they get your order right more often than not. Whereas this one that's more local to us is appalling. It's awful.
So bad.
We've even tried it again recently, just in case, I don't know, they're changing management or something. No, it's the same. It's the exact same as it always was. So we go to that other McDonald's on the other side of town now. So are you trying to tell me now that I'm not allowed to go to that other McDonald's because it's better?
No, you would be able to, but the idea of the 15 minutes is that you don't have to leave this neighbourhood. Everything is in vicinity for you.
That is wishy-washy nonsense. Businesses are going to open up in places where it's cheap to rent, cheap to lease property. They're not going to open up in densely populated areas because it's going to be more expensive.
It's just a way to reduce traffic, isn't it?
But it isn't.
Less people are out there in their mind.
It doesn't reduce traffic.
So you're trying to tell me in every little neighbourhood there's going to be a McDonald's, a B&M, a full-size Asda.
Exactly.
That doesn't make sense.
How many places do we go on a monthly basis that you could say are within a 15-minute area? They're not. They're absolutely not.
No.
These people, they don't understand. People have jobs in London from all over the country. People have jobs in Birmingham from London. So this is normal practice now. Why does that have to change now? So people aren't allowed to get the jobs that would pay them more money in the areas that would pay them more money because they have to stay within this 15-minute constrained area. No, nonsense.
They're not being locked in.
No, but what I'm saying is that
you're going to be less inclined to travel because you don't have to.
No, what I'm saying is that where is that going to end then?
I don't know.
Where's it going to end? Are they going to be like, oh no, you're not allowed to get a job 15 minutes outside where you live? No. It sounds like the social credit scoring in China. It's ridiculous. So you know what I mean? The social credit scoring in China, right? So they have these apps on their phones, and they are judged for their actions. They're judged for things that they do, right, on a daily basis. So not even that. You could have like the wrong family name or something like that. But your social credit score can go down and up, right, depending on the things that you do. And this is real. They have this in China where they're monitoring people's behavior and they're rating their behavior on what the CCP thinks is a good citizen or something like that. I don't know, whatever their justification is. But they're dictating to people what they can and can't do in the sense of, well, okay, if you have a lower social credit score, you're not allowed to buy a house. You're not allowed to buy a car. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to see your family. It's ridiculous things like that they do in China. And again, this is the start of something else. Is my tinfoil hat on or something? Because that's what it feels right now. It feels like total conspiracy theory, all this. And the thing is though, these might be things that that might be well intentioned, but not practical. They won't work. A modern society is a moving society. It's not stationary.
The aliens have infiltrated the government.
Oh dear, I don't know. I mean, if we
If
all
we're
lived
slower,
in,
they can catch us and probe us.
the thing is, like back in the day when we all used to live in tiny communities, little villages and things, well, you really had to go out your way to go to a particular place. But that's all changed now because all these small places are now heavily developed, and so you have access to a lot of places. I don't think people are going to accept going back 50, 60 years into the past where they can no longer go to the Sainsbury's they want to go to. But how did it say on that thing how that 15-minute thing is it enforceable or what, or is it just like a development initiative?
I don't think anything's enforceable on it.
Yeah,
It's just
to try and encourage people to stay within the vicinity.
So 15-minute policies transform urban spaces into connected and self-sufficient or complete neighbourhoods, reducing car use and encouraging active travel are central to delivering.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to say to people, look, everything's within your means now. Within 15 minutes, you don't need to get in your car and go elsewhere. But if you want to, you can.
Well, but that's the thing, though, because I don't think that's practical. I don't think it would work.
Imagine the queues.
For us, our local vicinity is the city centre.
Yeah.
That's what, for a lot of people living in the suburban area, their local, where they get commerce and what have you, is our city centre, and maybe some industrial estates or something like that are around the area. But but I don't know, man. Maybe 15 minutes is enough, but around here it might be. But if you live in a bigger area. If you lived in Bristol, for example, or if you lived in, I don't know, Sheffield or something, would that be viable? I don't know if it would. I don't know. But again, it's just one of those weird things where you just think, why? Why? What's the motivation behind it? It's not going to help anything. It's not going to help congestion. It's not going to help anything.
It says the obvious exception to the establishment of 15-minute neighbourhoods in larger UK cities such as London, Birmingham and Greater Manchester centres on where people work. So if, for instance, someone lives outside or lives in South London, but they work in Central London, that is never going to work because it's more than 15 minutes away.
But most places, I mean, development is development. Places are going to get as big as Greater Manchester or as big as Birmingham. Bristol is a small city, but it's massive. Even for a small city, Bristol's absolutely huge. So I don't know.
We're not keen is the answer to your question.
We're kind of going majorly off topic there. Sorry about that, but I don't know. I don't see how it would work. Again, for people that don't want to travel, they want to just walk down to their local, I don't know, corner store or something, then fine. But people are doing that anyway. My dad, right? He absolutely loves drinking beer, so he will go out of his way to go to a corner shop to buy some beer. But he only walks to the corner shop. He doesn't bother going to a big supermarket, which, by the way, is only a few minutes' drive down the road. He doesn't go there. How old is he now? What, 60 something? I don't know. But people are already doing that. I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, we'll move on. There might be something else that we can talk about at another time. But yeah, I'm not.
That's another good subject.
I'm not really.
Rant to be continued.
I'm not into that kind of thing. Let's have a look. Right, sorry, I've lost my place now in the chat. Where are we? Oh, Dope Soul Gaming. To be fair, I don't blame Karens for wanting 20-mile-an-hour speed limits on their roads. Riders like me with exhaust modelled after the trumpet of God remind them of how beautiful their retirement location is.
That's a wonderful way to think about it.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it?
That'll get them to change it when you've got all the Harleys sitting out on their Sunday morning ride off to get their brunch, revving. There's like 30 of them. Whole house vibrating.
Yeah, Dope Soul Gaming. Then again, you're only going to hear us for longer amount of time at 20 mile an hour. Pick your poison. Yeah. Call on. The roads I like have very few houses on them. Still good for 100+ mile an hour pull on them. Yeah. Well, I suppose you're lucky in the United States where you have loads of roads like that are just really long straight roads and you don't have to worry about a thing. Yeah, a bit jealous. Docile Gaming, I'll be taking a flight to the US to feel real speed one day. Have a bike ready for me, call on. Me too, please.
I've still got to figure out how the crosswalks work. Let the roads.
Yeah. Call on. The speeds might be moderately higher, but it's still a risk. Getting caught by the cops over here. Rishi becoming the next Tyre Nichols. I don't know who that is.
Oh, Google while you
who's
carry
Tyre
on.
Nichols? Yeah. Yeah, Snake Man congestion. Bingo. Yeah. Call on. Yes, we need a better balance between safe and fun. What's all the safety for if I can't walk fast and bikes legally can ride? Yeah. That's what I always say to you, isn't there? Something desperately wrong when you have an area where a cyclist can go faster than you can. Oh dear. Or someone can even run faster than you. Josh Law, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. Mark Jordan, we've got some new faces here. How you doing? AJ Ward, how you doing? Who else? Kem 599, good to see you, mate. Fidelity, good to see you. How you doing? Welcome. All right, let's see if I can find my place again. Yeah, call on. More congestion when there's enough protests over 20 mile an hour ensue. Yeah.
Call on said, I don't know if you saw this. You might have read it. I was looking. We need a better balance.
Yeah,
I
read that. Yeah.
I was looking something up.
Yeah. Let's have a look here. Dopestar Gaming, don't worry, call on. If I was willing to risk it in the UK, I'd risk it in the US. At the very least, I get more chances to use the whole tachometer. Yeah. Well, I mean, travel to Mexico then. Because Mexico, they don't have any speed limits on certain roads in Mexico.
Or South Africa.
Oh, really? It's South Africa as well? I didn't know that.
My brother went there for 3 months and he wrote a letter home saying they'd been out for a big meal and some beers and there was no speed limit. So the guy was like, let me put my foot down. And he did. My brother was like, I had to open the window and relive his dinner.
Oh, nice. Lovely.
Yeah.
Dopestar Gaming, Gobsy, let me tell you, whenever I filtered to the front of lights with a pipe on the bike, there was always someone wanting to test the R125, and I really do mean always, like 7 out of 10 chance-ish. Yeah, same with me as well. Yeah. It was more of an issue on my old CBR 600RR. I don't know why, but I used to get more people, kind of line themselves up to race you. Yeah. But I don't get it so much on the ZZR, and the ZH2 is quite a tame sounding bike anyway. So yeah. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
We've been sitting at a traffic light before, and it always pops in my head. I don't know why. And I've revved my little bike. You've revved your bike, and I've just happened to look behind us, and the couple behind us in the car are having a little giggle.
Yeah.
I love that.
AJ Ward, I'm thinking about getting my CVT done and getting a 125. However, everyone I speak to is telling me not to, as it will always get robbed no matter how secure it is. What do you think? I'm not going to lie. When I used to have a scooter, it was a 50cc scooter, it did get stolen. But ever since then, though, I mean, it got stolen because I didn't do anything. I didn't lock the steering. I didn't do anything. So it's more likely my own fault because I didn't have any deterrence. But for the most part, people have got to make an effort to steal a bike, even if you use just a fairly flimsy chain with a decent lock. Most of the time, people will try and cut it or try and cut the chain just to try and get the bike. But it might depend on the area that you live more than anywhere else. I mean, around here in particular, we have a lot of people that have motorcycles just out in their front garden, basically, just with a cover on them. I don't even think they have any kind of anchors or anything like that. But if you do live in an area where it'll get stolen, you think it might get stolen or just want to protect it, well, that would be the first thing to do, is to buy an anchor that you can fit to the ground so you can basically tie it up anywhere. Get yourself a chain that's probably about 15 millimeters thick, 10 millimeters thick, something like that. And yeah, just wrap that round the front wheel. Always lock your steering. And
the locks you can get, which you can't get bolt clippers through, aren't there?
Yeah.
Like there's really these really good locks.
Yeah, the hardened steel locks that you can get. But yeah, thing is, if someone is determined enough, they will steal it.
Yeah.
They'll steal it if they are determined enough. And 125s tend to be a pretty popular target, but they're usually a popular target for younger people that are, I don't know, they just want to have a rag around in something. They don't really care. They don't want to sell it on or something. It's only the professional thieves that you got to worry about, because they'll come with all the bells and whistles. They'll have the saws, they'll have the bolt cutters, they'll have everything to try and get something if they really, really want to. It's the same with cars though as well. And there's no car that is 100% defendable from thieves. My dad was saying to me, because my dad's an ex-police officer, and he was saying to me this story where there was a person who had 4 cars. Was it 4 cars? Might have just been 2 cars. But anyway, they had a really nice car. I can't remember what it was, and they had it parked in front of their garage. But then there were 3 other cars parked around it. So you couldn't if you broke into the car and you hotwired it, you couldn't get it out. You had to move the other cars out of the way. Yeah. And so these thieves, they broke into the other cars to move them out of the way just to get the one that they wanted. So it's honestly, it's impossible. Because with some people, you are just going to...
It's a lose-lose situation, isn't it?
Yeah. But just do all the basic stuff. So make sure it has an anchor. Make sure you get a decent chain or a decent lock and everything else. Get a cover as well. Put a cover over it. Because a lot of the time as well, it's all psychology, isn't it? Where if someone sees it and they think, oh, I'll have a go at nicking that, then they might be more encouraged to do it. But if there's a cover over it and they don't actively see what it is, like for example, I mean, with your Ninja 125, I bet that would be a very, very stealable bike, just for kids, teenagers. They'd be like, oh yeah, I'll have that little race bike. But if you keep it covered or keep it hidden, then they're none the wiser. They don't know what it is. So because people aren't going to risk getting caught over something that isn't worth it, But yeah, just stick to those the usual things. I mean, even something like a GPS tracker might be worthwhile if it's something you're really, really worried about. GPS trackers, you can just get like something like that, which you get a phone app as well, and you can track where the bike's going. I think someone in the chat ages ago mentioned about how their motorcycle was stolen, but they had a GPS tracker on it, and they found it.
Dope Style said here...
Because they got an alert.
Yeah, well, Dope Style said here, carried around 2 chains, 2 locks, a top, and an Apple AirTag for good measure. Yeah. But no one ever tried anything.
Well, an AirTag, actually, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. An AirTag, yeah, especially if you've got an Apple phone, definitely worthwhile.
Did Samsung do something similar?
I don't know, to be honest. It's never been something that I've been interested in getting, to be honest.
Yeah, they do some. I don't know what it's called, but like Samsung tag, exactly the same thing as an Apple tag, but for Samsung.
Well, that's also an option then, as well, for sure. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about it, because everyone runs that same risk of having to try and protect their bikes. But it's the same thing with cars, honestly. Cars aren't that difficult to break into if you have a determined thief.
Someone broke into my first car, my Peugeot 206, for my aftermarket radio, which cost me £10 to replace.
Yeah, £10 it was worth.
It was just stupid.
But then again, though,
we sold the car shortly after because it didn't feel the same. I didn't.
That's
like
the stupid thing, isn't it? That someone broke into the car to steal a radio, a stereo system that was worth £10 on eBay. I don't know.
It cost me more to replace the window.
But that's the most annoying thing, isn't it? Is that you don't really care about the stereo; it's the window. The window costs about £100 to get fixed, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I couldn't use my car for however long before they fixed it.
Yeah.
Whilst it was damaged, and then they fixed it. That's the most annoying thing. I only passed my driving license less than a year, and that car got broken into, and I couldn't use it.
Yeah. Just try wherever you can to put the bike somewhere where it's visible. Visible for you, but not so visible for other people. Or if you have to put it in a public place, put it somewhere where there can be lots of people looking at it. But yeah, there are things you can do, mate. So I wouldn't worry so much about it getting stolen. But I'm not going to lie and say it doesn't happen, because it does. Alex, I only have 2 years of experience riding on a 45 horsepower A2 bike, and last week I ordered a brand new Kawasaki ZH2 without test riding it. Okay.
That's what he did. Did you test ride the ZH2?
Yeah, I test
You
rode
did?
the ZH2. Yeah, yeah, of course.
Oh, the ZZR you
Yeah,
didn't test ride.
it was this one that I didn't test ride.
Just brought it.
And it was used as well. I bought it used, but
Yeah, it does work out.
The funny thing is that the ZH2, even though it's just a crazy mad bike, having 2 years experience on a 45 horsepower bike, you put the ZH2 in the lower power mode, and you won't have any problems. To be honest, just take it easy though, yeah. Because if you do start going up those power modes, you will feel a massive difference. But I mean, it would be in the lower power mode. It would be the equivalent of moving up to a 600cc sport bike, which isn't a massive jump from a 45 horsepower bike. So, but yeah, nice.
I imagine there's gonna be a bit of a wait for the ZH2 to arrive because the recall and stuff. So
Yeah,
let us know when you get it. What
to
you
be
think.
to be fair, that might be sorted now.
I think it's March.
I thought it was a couple of months ago that they.
I think they said
announced
that,
it.
but I think they've stopped selling them until like
It might just be in Europe though.
maybe I don't
It
know.
might just be in Europe. If they live somewhere else, then it might not have affected them. But yeah. Oh, call on! I'm jealous. Riding since 20 years ago, and I recently got my 04 R1. Yeah. Still, I mean, an R1, that's still a wicked bike.
That is an amazing bike.
That's a
Yeah.
wicked bike. An 04 model as well. I definitely have one of those.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Have you guys heard that? But some just bikes going down the road.
Yeah.
Sounded really nice.
Oh yeah. So yeah, Dope Style Gaming carried 2 chains, 2 locks, a tarp, and an air tag. Yeah. Yeah, Chem 599 cars and bikes can now stop faster than they could 30 years ago, but speed limits have gone down. Yeah, stupid, isn't it? Cars and motorcycles as well are safer than they ever have been.
It's like
So
it's like in my car, I've got a sensor that will automatically put the brakes on if there's something in front of me, or it thinks I'm too close or something. And even to the point, if I've got cruise control on and there's a car in front of me, it will slow it down. My car, I don't do anything.
Yeah.
I'm just there to make sure that it's steering the right way. Otherwise, I'm useless. So,
Jacob, good to see you, mate. How you doing? Oh god, okay, this is a hard question. They say top 5 sport touring bikes for A2. If I direct you to a video, all of them on that list are sport touring bikes for the most part. So it's a video that we've got entitled, I think it's the top 6 best A2 motorcycles, something like that. And yeah, we run through all of the best ones. We've got like the KTM 390 Duke. We got the BMW G3. We've also got the Ninja 400, the Z400 from Kawasaki. We've also got the R3 as well, or the MT-03. What else is in that list? Oh, and you got the CBR 500R as well. Don't be put off by the looks, because a lot of the bikes in A2 class are not that sporty at all. They're not ridiculously kind of Superman-like in their sitting position. A lot of them are quite sitting upright. So that will change, however, with the ZX4R. The new one.
it does look nice.
That's going to have a very aggressive seating position. I could tell you right now, it's going to be totally different to a Ninja 400, even though they have the same displacement or a similar displacement. I'm looking forward to having a test ride on one of those. I think that could be so fun. A 400cc inline 4 revving to, what was it, 17,000 RPM or something ridiculous like that. Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun, something like that. But yeah,
we've got a Kawasaki dealership near us now, so we can.
Yeah, I mean, if when is it? When is it released?
I don't know actually.
We'll have to have a look. But yeah, check out that video. Because I detail all the specs and everything.
It might be available for the Kawasaki demo day this year.
Yeah.
You don't get a chance before then.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Dog sleeping.
All right, let's have a look here. Yeah, Snake Man, Jacob, check out the Ninja 650 as well. Yeah, Ninja 6. The Ninja 650 is what I used to have. It wasn't for A2, but you can get it restricted for A2 if you wanted to, because it produces about 70 something horsepower, 76 horsepower. The Ninja 650. But yeah, it's a very, very good. It's a touring bike. It's doesn't look like a touring bike, but the seating position is very upright and very comfortable. So yeah, if you're looking for a sport tourer, then those are ones I'd recommend, definitely. Mark SG, good to see you, mate. More nor in Australia, we have very strict rules, but they are only heavily policed where people live. We have a lot of unpopulated space, and once you get out of the town, you can have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
See, we're not that lucky here in the UK at all. We don't have that kind of space.
Let's move.
Let's move. Yeah.
That'll solve our problem. We'll just move.
We'll move to Mexico or something, or Australia.
Yeah,
definitely. But yeah. So I mean, this topic is stressful for me, because it is a trigger, because you kind of want people to be safe, but at the same time you want to be able to enjoy the bikes, enjoy the cars that you have, and when you start getting people that are saying nope, sorry, can't enjoy it anymore,
denied,
it really leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Especially for those of you that live in these areas that have bought, say, I don't know, a BMW 1 Series with a 3-litre straight 6, produces 350 horsepower, something ridiculous like that. And then all of a sudden, a year later, everywhere's a 20-mile-an-hour limit. You know, it is stupid. It is absolutely stupid.
Between that and all the other restrictions they're putting on the road, electric and all that stuff, it's like they don't want us on the road.
No, that's what I mean. It's a very anti-motorist culture that we are living through at the moment. I think all of it will change at some point when people start realising actually how important getting around actually is. Because, I mean, a lot of these people as well, they don't drive cars. I wonder if these people in these local councils actually drive anywhere. They might not. They probably use their bicycles or something.
They probably live in the council flat above the council building.
Yeah. So it doesn't impact them. I bet you something stupid like that, and these people are making rules for others when it doesn't apply to them.
Yeah.
The only thing that you can hope is maybe, I don't know, they'll go on some kind of holiday or something where they have to drive somewhere, and all of a sudden they're encountering all these 20, 30 mile an hour roads, and they're like, bloody hell, man, it's going to take me forever to get anywhere. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, look, we need to talk about these things to kind of make it more of a problem, because people seem to just be accepting these things lying down, and I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right at all. But it's almost like we don't have a voice with these kinds of things, with these kinds of issues. It's all about being green and being eco and being safer. Oh God, honestly, it never ends. But anyway, everybody, thank you ever so much for tuning into today's live show again. Yeah, we're back here same time next week as well. But yeah, thanks for chiming in as well with your thoughts. And I think a lot of us agree with the sentiment that this isn't fair. This isn't a balance between safety and whatever. This is just totally just gone in one extreme direction, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a fan of extremism, and this seems very extreme if you ask me. But anyway, yeah, so we've got a video coming out tomorrow as per usual, so yeah, hopefully I'll see you then. But if I don't, have a good weekend. We'll catch you all next week.
I'm showing off the pug.
Showing off the pug.
The pug.
But hopefully we can have a bit more of a upbeat topic next week anyway, something a bit more we'll put some smiles on people's faces rather than just make me angry. But
obviously ride safe.
Of course.
But it's Pancake Day on Tuesday.
Is it Pancake Day? Oh man. So well, we all know what we're going to be doing.
Enjoy that.
Maybe yeah. Thank you ever so much for watching, everyone. Take care. Ride safe. We'll see you next week.
Bye. You getting down? Oh.